Right now, as the voting continues, you can change your vote to A or B, whichever one, which is in line with 1 or 2 now, and it will register correctly, I promise. It allows us to have conversation, and someone next to you might even convince you, as the time is moving, for you to change your vote. Okay? Are we clear? Thank you for your patience. All right, I'll give us another 5 seconds here or so to finish up. Okay, we'll get our results. And a very close one. It appears that Team 1 won the point. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay. So we'll move to our second question right now. And we're talking about, I'll just remind the speakers too, to do your best to speak out a little bit more and try to just make sure that it's a little clearer as to what you're saying. Okay, so the question is on gun control, and the choice goes to Team 1 as to whether they want to argue the affirmative or negative to the question or the statement, assault weapons and high-capacity clips should be banned. What did you say?
I'll say the affirmative.
The affirmative. Thank you very much. All right, we'll get our timer going.
The device of murder, the assault weapon has one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to take human life as efficiently and as quickly as possible. They have their place on the battlefield, but they do not belong in civilized society. They're not necessary whatsoever for self-defense or hunting. Automatic weapons are extremely dangerous because they're a great equalizer. You put them in the hands of someone and they become automatically, without any training whatsoever, a deadly human being. We've seen this unfortunately with tragedies in the last few years, especially at Newtown. Adam Lanza, a 20-year-old, was given an assault weapon, and he was maybe the deadliest person in America at that time. I understand the importance of the Second Amendment, but I don't believe that yesterday's ideologies fit today's ideologies. And thank God they don't. In 1776, we still have slavery, and women were still second-class citizens. And I think we really need to start questioning the original intentions of our forefathers. Philosophy needs to change with the times. Framers of the Constitution took minutes to reload their weapons, and I don't think they could have ever possibly imagined the firepower that we have today. I also understand the importance of the Second Amendment when it comes to tyrannical rule. But we are concerning ourselves with a hypothetical situation that has yet to happen, and that's preventing us from dealing with the problems we're having right now. We're seeing shooting streaks at unprecedented frequency, and we shouldn't let a hypothetical situation prevent us from solving that. And we're not eliminating guns, all guns on whole, we're just eliminating assault rifles. These weapons belong on the battlefield and not in society, and that's why I believe we should ban assault weapons. Thank you.
During high school, we all had high school civics class, and we learned a little bit about the Constitution, and we all went over the Bill of Rights. The Second Amendment of the Bill of Rights declares that all citizens of the United States have the right to bear arms. This was intended by the founders for multiple purposes. The first purpose was because back in 1776, you had to go out and gather your own food, you had to hunt, and you had to have a weapon. But you also, the founders also put emphasis on making it very clear that they wanted the citizens to be armed in case of the government overreaching its power. The entire purpose of the Bill of Rights is to keep the government in check. And I know in our modern society we come to believe that government can be beneficial to us in multiple ways, and that it is there to protect us, but the founders understood that this is not always the case, because after all, they fought a revolution to break free of England. These high-capacity pit clips and assault weapons. Once the government steps in and infringes upon citizens' rights to have these types of weapons, then it's a slippery slope. Like, they could take away handguns, they could take away any kind of gun from that reason on. And history, if we look back at history, has taught us that nothing truly, or bad events have come after this has happened. And it's just a trend that we want to avoid in the United States, because after all, this is the Constitution, and the way that it's followed is what has made the United States prosperous for 250 years, the greatest country in the world at this point. Thank you.
I understand your point on the Second Amendment, but at the same time, that was written in the year 1776. And they didn't understand what technology advancements would be occurring at this point in time. And technology has been so rapid in the past generations. And considering that slow weapon is not a normal weapon of usage, it's just ridiculous in my opinion to have a slow weapon in the home of a general person in this country. There's no need for it other than basically brutal murder. And the kind of protection that it entails, it's not really worth the consequences of our society. It has so many damaging factors, and it's not really it's more damaging than it is protected. And the odds of somebody actually having to use it are so slim that we're going to be putting our society at that kind of risk at this point in time. It's not rational. And what we're focusing on here is that guns are basically the right of Americans, but this is not that kind of gun that we're dealing with.
We're not trying to dispute the fact that the incidents that happened over the past few years, shooting in Newtown, shooting at Keene Tech, Columbine, the shooting in Aurora, Colorado, we're not trying to dispute the fact that these were horrific incidents. But the fact of the matter is that assault weapons, under their current classification, are used in less than 1%, that is 1% of gun crime. So we are focusing on the wrong issue. What we need to be focusing on is the funding of the mental health institution, which is the lowest that it has been in decades. Columbine, Virginia Tech, Newtown, all of these incidents have one common factor. Their perpetrator was declared mentally insane, mentally unstable. And the fact of the matter is that our society failed these students, these people, before they even get the weapons in their hands. Now, Harvard has done a study that shows no correlation between the rates of gun ownership and gun crime. Thank you.
He's swinging after the bells ring.
Like I mentioned earlier, yes, the Second Amendment was in fear of coming off the cusp of tyrannical rule from England. They were afraid that it happened again. But, as I said earlier, we shouldn't let this hypothetical situation steer us away from dealing with the present problem. And although, yes, the tragedies that happen, they are a relative rarity, but one is too many. And I know guns don't kill, the phrase guns don't kill people, people kill people. That's true. No one's going to hold an inanimate object on trial. But there's a combination of factors when put together are quite dangerous. And if you put the gun in the hand of a mentally ill person, the chances are more likely than not for some of the tragedies to reoccur. The government also, yes, they have arms, but just because they have weapons does not mean we should have them. They also have nuclear weapons, but that doesn't mean we should give everyone in this country a war. Thank you.